I'm Anna.
I'm Ben.
We're AutoSave. Welcome to our
Today we're
channel.
watching Bakemonogatari Season 1, Episode 6. Last episode, Hachikuji set off into a ghostly sunset, only to come back in a better way. Very happy that hopefully she will be included in the story going forward.
Yeah, got a promotion.
True.
Now she's going to be around the neighborhood. That's good for us, the viewers. We'll get to bump into her again.
I imagine that this episode, we're going to maybe head back to Oshino's territory and maybe interact with him more. Maybe that's just what I want.
It could just be what you want.
Maybe.
For your sake, I hope you get what you want.
Me too. You ready? Sweet. Girl.
Left hand.
Beast.
Some monkeys. Like a monkey's paw.
The stairs again?
Another person. Oh, okay. I was like, another person missing his name?
Love the phrase to boot. School.
School.
No.
Oh, okay.
New character?
That's so nice of her.
No.
Nah. It's dangerous.
Suicide itself. Whoa!
Biker shorts.
Do not enter. Do not throw junk away. Whoa!
Sporty.
I'm sold. I'm in. This show is everything to me.
Interesting. It's a love rival.
I know. Not conflicting emotions anymore? Is she in love with Araragi or Senjugahara?
Both. I mean, it's fine if it's both.
Oh, damn.
The monkey.
Suruga.
Mon's story. Is that like Monster's story? It happens at the beginning of every episode. Got all that?
Yep.
There's a monkey on the sign.
Razor wit. She's glazing so hard.
Good grief.
Me too. A study group.
Yeah, your girlfriend.
Razor wit.
So right after it goes in, bandaged arm.
邪魔をしてはいけないな。今日はここで失礼させてもらおうと思う。荒木先輩、ご分を。
I love it.
That's a cute way to say his name.
僕の名前をミュージカルみたいに歌い上げる。
No, continue to
僕
do
の
it.
名前は荒木だ。
失礼、噛みました。
違う、わざとだ。
噛みまみた。
わざとじゃない。よくわかんないんだけど、3日前くらいからやけに露骨に僕につきまとってくる。
3
3
days.
days.
何がしたいんだか
Interesting.
さっぱりだ。
Probably she has a problem that she needs help with.
荒木さんのことが好きなんじゃないですか？
Or like.
なわけねえだろ。ギャルゲーの主人公とかじゃないんだから。ある
You're
日
not?
突然モテモテになったりするわけねえだろ。
私の中の女の部分が間違いないと告げています。近いうちにあの方、荒木さんに告白してくるかもしれません。
Bye, Chikuji.
それに僕は一番難易度の高いキャラもう攻略しちまってるからさ。
That's so fair. That is so fair.
Fourscore and 7 years ago. Come on, Araragi, lock in.
荒木くんが何がわからないのか。
I don't understand what you don't understand.
I only know what I know. I don't understand what you don't understand.
今から私が協力して準備すれば進路のこと。
進路っていきなりそんなこと言われても。
それはつまり荒木くんは卒業と
She
同
needs
時
to
に
know
就
this
職
because
する
you're
という
dating.
こと。それともとりあえずはフリーター、それともニートなのかしら。恋人でしょ。
Oh.
進路か。
でも私はできれば荒木くんと同じ道に進みたいものなのだけれど。
いや、僕の成績ではちょっとそれ
じゃ
は。
あどうする？卒業したら同棲でもする。
Whoa.
それなら互いの進
The
路が分か
birds
った
like coming out of her
一緒にいられ
house.
る時間は今よりもむしろ増えるくらいでしょ
まあ悪くはないよな。
う。悪くは何その言い方。
したいです。
I'd like to please, let's do that.
そうため息が多いわね、荒木くん。知ってる？ため息1回につき幸せが一つ逃げて。
すでに1000回単位で幸せを逃がしていそうだな、僕。
煩わしいと言っても恋煩いよ。
Lovesick.
反応が難しいふりだな、それ。
ところで知っている？荒木くん。私、男と別れたことがないのよ。だから荒木くんとも別れるつもりはないわ。
Forever.
アピールの仕方がわからないのはお互い様ってことなのか？
Risk of fire.
戦場ヶ原。
うっかりしていたわ。
Yeah, she might start if she knows someone else has a crush on you.
お前そういえば
I love
中
the
学時
set
代は
of
陸上部のエースだった
where they are.
ええ、もうあの頃に
Interesting
戻
that
る
the
つも
ink
り
is
はない。
changing colors
I
from like
know.
when written to
あ
what's
あ、
on the
そうだ
page.
なあ、戦場ヶ原。
何よ。
カンバルスルガって知ってる？
そうね。カンバルスルガか。ええ。あの子は中学時代の私の後輩よ。
カンバルは今も後輩だろ。同じ学校なんだから。
カンバル、えらく親しげに呼ぶじゃない。
Oh, shit.
あの子がどうかしたの、荒木くん。
Oh, I love it.
荒木くんって怪我の回復とても早いのだったわ。じゃあ目玉の一つくらいならいいかしら。
Caution symbols.
僕は戦場ヶ原一筋だ。
Correct.
Risk of fire, the
あら
flame.
そう。気持ちいいことを言ってくれるわね。
You went for the one with the highest difficulty setting, but was it worth it?
お前絶対そのうち人を殺すぞ。
And it might be you.
If he's lucky.
初めての相手は
You're gonna be my first.
荒木くん以外は選ばない。約束するわ。
I love the double meaning of
いいじゃな
everything.
い。納得しなす。私が荒木くんを殺すということは、つまり荒木くんの臨終の一番そばにいるのがこの私
How
という
romantic.
ことになる。ロマンチックじゃない。
Yes.
嫌だ。僕は誰に殺されるとしてもお前に殺されるのだけは嫌。
何よ、そんなの私が嫌よ。荒木くんが私以外の誰かに殺されたなら、私はその犯人を殺すわ。約束なんか守るものですか。
Well, that's romantic.
カンバルの話だったわね。私は陸上部のエースで、あの子はバスケ部のエースだったから。学年は違
Attachments
う
from
が
the
それなり
past.
に付き合いがあった。
Mm.
それに、
それに
What is
部
it?
活を離れたプライベートにおいて、あの子にはいろいろと面倒をしかけたというか、面倒を見させられ
Maybe
た。
that I troubled myself over
とこ
her.
ろで荒木くん、その前にどうして荒木くんがここであの子の名前を出したのか教えてくれるかしら。やましいところがないのだが、 ちゃんと説明してくれるわよね。
あ
そうねえ荒木くん。
なんだよ。
上は洪水下は大火事なんだ。
そりゃまあ風呂釜だろ。
ブッブー。答えはカンバル駿河の家よ。
お前学校のスターの家に何をするつもりだ。
まあ冗談はともかく荒木くん、カンバルはね荒木くんより一
あ
ー
番私の秘密に気づいた。
そうなのか。
She did say some other people found out.
つまりカンバルが直江津高校に入学してきてすぐのことよ。
あの性格からするとあいつはカンバルは多分
You worried
お前の
yourself
ことを
over
助け
her.
ようとしたんじゃないのか。
荒木くんの時と似たような対処を取らせてもらったら
Damn, I love
荒
that.
木くんはそれでも私に関わろうとした。
しかしお前とカンバルとの関係は分かったけれど、じゃあなんでカンバルは僕につきまとうんだろうな。
大方私と荒木くんが恋人関係
You were able to do what she wasn't.
知りでもしたのでしょうよ。
何
Interesting.
つまり戦場がある下着にできた彼氏ってのがどんな男なのか
Probably.
気になってそれで探りを入れているってことなのか。
She never came back and you did.
人間関係を清算しきれていなかった私の責任と言っていいもの。
でもカンバルって1年前お前にこっぴどく拒絶されているんだろ。
カンバルにとって戦場ヶ原ひたぎは憧れの先輩だったのよ。
More than idolize or
だか
just
ら
idolize?
拒絶する時も後腐れのないように注意をしたはずなのだけれど、
Rejecting
そう
her.
Mhm.
やっぱりまだ私のこと忘れていな
That
かった
idea that she might have had a crush on Aragi by
迷惑みたいに
Hachikuji.
言うなよ。別に向こうは悪気あるわけじゃないんだろ。大体
迷惑よ。悪気のあるなしなんて関係ないわ。
This is so cool.
うんそうだよ。そりゃもちろん知ってるけど。
He's not leaving it alone. Does he want to mend their friendship?
Valhalla duo.
バルハラコンビってね呼ばれてたよ。カンバルのバルと戦場ヶ原の原でバルハラなのよ。でバルハラっていうのは、北欧神話で
Aru
最高
Aru.
神オーディンの
ああ、カンバルの神と戦場ヶ原の戦場か。
それでバルハラコンビ。
はあ、
Makes sense.
うまいこと言う人間がいるもんだな。
まあコンビ
Creative
なんて
people.
言われるくらいなんだから少なくとも仲が悪か険悪だったとか
You know
そう
who
いう
else is
こ
a
とは
duo? The Flame
そっ
Sisters.
か、お前は何でも知ってるな。
何でもは知らないわよ。知ってることだ
Just-
け
oh my god.
でも荒木くんは昔の戦場ヶ原さんのことなんて関係なく今の戦場ヶ原さんのことが好きなんだよね。でも好きなのはいいけど清く正しい男女交際を
Pure
心
and
がけなさい
proper.
よ。荒木くん戦場ヶ原さんは難しいよ。
Not as tough as you,
それこそ
Hanakawa. No,
あ
I'm
んま
just
り知
kidding.
った
That
ふう
was
な
really
ことを
cool.
言うつもりはないけれど戦場ヶ原さん難攻不落のセルフフィールドを作っちゃってるからさ。荒木くんも持ってるやつね。セルフフィールド自体は
Look at all those
プライバシーとか言って誰でも持っているものだけれど
Call it a sense of
戦場ヶ原
privacy.
さん
I
や
love
荒
that.
木くんはそこでさら
Ooh.
に籠城戦を繰り
And
広
you've
げて
pulled in together now.
そういう人は人付き合いそのものを鬱陶し
Yeah.
いと思ってること
But
が多いから
Aragi likes to break into other people's privacy to help them.
でもね荒木くん人付き合いが嫌いなのと人間嫌いは違うんだよ。世の中に人の来るこそうるさけれとは言うもののお前だけでしょ
Mmm.
わけわかんなくはないよ。大切な彼女のことを知りたいと思う普通のことだもん。でもあんまり恋人の昔を探るみたいのはしない方がいいとは思うよ。
Yeah, you called
興
another
味半
girl.
分面白半分にならないよ。荒木くんそのあたりはきちんと節度を守ってね。
Good
それじゃ
advice.
あバイバイ。
Oh, beautiful.
もしできる
Work
な
of
ら
art.
戦場ヶ原には失ったもの、捨てたものを取り戻してほしい。
But what if she threw away it
そん
for
な
a
ことを
reason?
考えば大きなお世話だろうし、ありがた迷惑もいいところだろう。
Yes.
でも僕はそう思わざるを得ないんだ。
What do you do with that think?
僕には絶対にできないことだから。
これ押野さんに渡しておいてもらえ
That
るか
he
しら。
can never do.
なんだこれって預かったはずなのに戦場ヶ原の家に忘れてきちゃったな。
Oh. Oh shit!
A train.
The rap? Is it her?
Mhm. We see it in the OP.
荒木くん 忘れ物届けに来たんだけれど
She saved his life there.
Okay, that was Bakemonogatari Season 1, Episode 6. One of the first things I want to do is break down the quick flashing titles, but on first watch, do you have a preference between Hachikuji and Kanbaru's OPs? Do you like one more than the other, or do you feel like you need more time to digest?
See, yeah, that is a difficult question to ask when I've seen one more times than the other, but also the added, I know Hachikuji is a character better. And as we had episodes with her, the next episode with the OP was then, like, even better.
Yeah.
Things about it made more sense. It was more fun. I'm gonna say, at the current moment, I like Hachikuji's OP better.
I think that there were a lot of aspects of Kanbaru's OP that I did like more, but all encompassing, I would have to agree that I think Hachikuji's is closest to my heart, but I think a little bit that has to do with that is my what the fuck is going on like reaction. Like I was like, what the hell is this shit?
When I think about it too, one character's OP was so distant in terms of relating it all to the plot, and the current OP with Kanbaru had our main characters in it because she actually knows them and has history with them.
That's a really good point. I also, just before going through the titles, want to like put some respect and appreciation down for what this show is so far. I've never watched anything like it, and it feels like so much love and intention and passion and like minuscule detail is in every frame, and it is one of the most things to watch ever. It's
one of the most what things?
One of the most fun things to watch ever. It's just so I love it. Maybe it's just like it's like a subjective thing, and it's not like a overarching thing, but it feels like it should be, and I adore it.
I think one of the coolest things is that even through being impressed with the dialogue in terms of characters, banter from any of the duos, like Hachikuji banter with Aragi, where we're constantly saying my tongue, that's why I flubbed my words. I think that I giggle a lot when watching this show, which we've seen some things that are really emotional. We're seeing trauma displayed. We're in this episode, there was blood and injury involved. I mean, Senjugahara's entrance into the story and what she did to Aragi.
Yeah.
Pretty graphic. But I'm giggling throughout these episodes at the characters' relationships.
Yeah.
And how they talk to each other.
Yeah. I'm in the same boat. I want to now go through the intros if we can.
Okay.
Let's see. The name Kanbaru Suruga belongs to a celebrity known the entire school over, which of course means that I too heard it a fair share of times. No, in Kanbaru Suruga's case, you'd get a better sense of who she is if I said star rather than celebrity. That already fits.
Mm-hmm.
Kanbaru Suruga is our school's ace basketball player. After joining the club as a first year, instantly making the team and leading a ridiculously weak perennial first-round knockout girls basketball team to nationals. It'd be silly if she wasn't treated like a star.
It would be silly. I agree.
She isn't unusually tall or anything. She's built like the average high school girl. If anything, she's a little on the small and slender side. The term dainty would suit her well. But Kanbaru Suruga can jump. We saw that in action.
She jumped over Aragi's head.
It's crazy that it goes out for a split second, you know? It doesn't, the captions don't say. Just once, a year ago, for some reason or another, I had a chance to peek at a game Kanbaru Suruga was playing in, and she was so quick and agile that she didn't just pass by the other team's defenders, she threaded them, and like in the sports manga that once swept Japan, scored with a clean dunk. What's that basketball
Is it called
manga
Slam
anime?
Dunk? No.
It might be Slam Dunk. There's another one I was thinking about too.
Kuroko no Basket?
Maybe. I was thinking more Slam Dunk, or maybe there was something before that too. I haven't seen either
I've
of them,
never
or read them.
watched a basketball anime.
with comfort, with ease, with the refreshing smile of an athletic girl never leaving her face. Again and again, naturally, she must have no idea who I am. That's so funny. I can't imagine why she would. Connection, rap. That's how I saw it. That was my assumption. Mission. Suruga Monkey Part 1. Phenomenal.
Yep.
Phenomenal.
I love that Aragi definitely, in his making sure that he has these profiles of these characters in his life, he makes sure to have a really good grasp on descriptors for how they physically appear in this world.
Do you think that her hand is actually hurt?
So, I think that what is interesting from the OP in regards to it that I think could lend to some theories about her hand is that when we first see her shoot the basket, it might have not been the OP, it might have just been her in general in some part of the episode, but there isn't the bandaged hand until it actually goes through the hoop.
Yeah.
And then we see her again, and it's like when she shoots it, it's not.
Yeah.
And then after she actually goes for it, it is. And I don't think it was the OP. I think it must have been in the episode.
Yeah.
But I'm like, I think there has to be something underneath it that she's hiding.
So do you think that it's like, okay, leave the physical injuries out the door, and it's would be more in line with what the show has shown us so far in terms of like whether it's psychological or more deity based or spiritual based, that there is some sort of curse on her arm or her ability to shoot?
Which actually, yeah, like it's affecting her being at practice right now.
Yeah.
So we know that so in the OP we see her kind of this back-to-back imagery with Senjugahara. I think what you could do very magical girl. A jump that you could make possibly is that her current situation is one that in some way she welcomed into the world. A wish that she made, a god, a ghost that she encountered. I'm gonna assume something to do with a monkey. When the episode first started, I was like, monkey's paw. Yeah, like we've read stories about that. It's talked about pretty often. I think pretty well known, that idea of the monkey's paw.
I think it's interesting that at the end of the OP we get Senjugahara stabbing her, and like at first upon watching it I'm like, oh, I wonder if it's like, you know, a relationship in between them, and this was Senjugahara telling Kanbaru, like, cutting her off, like further in the episode when we get context of like making that clean cut and breaking her heart maybe. But it could be like that had repercussions, or when she started dating somebody that showed like something. I don't know.
My first read in hindsight is that this is what Senjugahara meant when she says that she created a clean break with this person that idolized her. I don't think the break... How do you... If she says she confronted Kanbaru in the same way, the treatment was the same with Araragi, what was the clean break like? Like, what is Senjugahara's definition of a clean break of a friendship and how to go about that? I mean, she makes jokes about burning this girl's house down.
Yeah.
And then the pen scene with the eye.
Yeah.
And then what we saw was staplers and X-Acto knives, like box cutters.
I don't know. I imagine that it's very literal and very lacking of personal feelings and emotions. One of my favorite lines of dialogue this episode is from Hanekawa, like describing not only Araragi but Senjugahara's disposition of being able to create like an impregnable force field around herself. And it was kind of goes into the discussion that we had from last episode about Senjugahara and Araragi's back and forth, and how that there is that layer up, that force field up, but around a person who is similar in that sense, or a person that you can trust and have emotions very open with, that force field can break and you can start letting them see your own like impression of yourself, you know?
Right. There's a line right after that's not liking to deal with people and not liking people is different.
Yeah.
And I think that could be I think it sums up why Senjugahara and Araragi are actually at this point of like having established a friendship and a relationship, is because both of them in their lives, because of whatever has led them to the place they have gotten to and met each other, is that dealing with people comes with its own bag of issues for them for whatever reason, whether that's like emotional trauma, how the fact that Senjugahara literally cut all of her connection from her mother in order to not have to like deal with those really heavy, really hard emotions.
Yeah.
And then on like a more simple level, obviously we haven't gotten Aragi's like entire past and what happened to him, the entire vampire storyline, but we at least know from the Hachikuji kind of arc that when he doesn't really want to deal with his family or his sisters, or he's feeling uncomfortable with those relationships, he is leaving. He is kind of like exiling himself. He feels this like inability to reconnect or connect with people. And we especially know from the end of the episode that he believes that connecting with other people or connecting with his past is something that he absolutely cannot do. Like, not that he wouldn't want to necessarily, but he literally isn't able. And I don't know, I just think that's maybe my favorite takeaway from this episode.
How do you think Senjugahara is gonna feel? Like, obviously Hanekawa brings up like great points of be careful prodding too much into the person you're in a relationship with when they've set a boundary in front of you, and then we got obviously Araragi's like response to that and his own perspective of why he does it and is going to.
Don't go digging in her past, and then his response, I want to get her back what she lost, what she threw away, was a phrasing. Like, she herself chose to throw these things away. And so even more so, Araragi knows that this is, especially because of the fact that she chose this for herself, it's an overstep on his, it's an unwanted favor.
It was her choice to leave behind the Valhalla duo. Why do otherwise? Right.
He can't help. He can't help himself with it. And I think that that's really incredibly interesting for his character. Like, when you talk about future, and on the Mother's Day episodes, he is not wanting to move forward. He's the one that came across the snail.
Yeah.
You know, he got lost in this journey where he didn't have to return home. And in this episode, we're talking about future plans after graduation. Have you even thought about it? It's like he might not want to reach back into his own past and grab the things that he felt he had to throw away. It's just incredibly interesting that this character is unwilling to let other people throw away things or not get help, but he's unwilling to move himself. Is he distracting himself? Is that what he's doing? Is he keeping himself stagnant with the kind of pat himself on the back that he's helping other people around him just to kind of keep himself from having to think about moving forward?
Interesting. I wonder if he's going to pass the test.
They did study. I mean, he drew some lines on the paper, but she threatened him a great deal. Therefore, dude, I think he probably studied.
That whole scene was so creative. You pointed it out during the reaction, but I noticed it and adored it. The idea that the writing that was being animated was red, but the text that was not, that was already there, was black. And it reminds me of just like the animation lines we get in this show and some others, like how they differentiate from red and black and the pre-lining of things like this. It's very interesting. It's like, such a creative choice.
I can get it from I don't know, it's not even practical. It's not practical at all to showcase the fact that some of the writing was stagnant in the shot, or like that this was already the way it was, and then the animation is on top of it.
Well, depending on the animator, a lot of animators use red line as pre-line, so and then go over it with black to finish, right? But using it as a creative choice, if that was what was done here, it is just fucking phenomenal. And so uniquely picky and strange that it's perfect. Like, I'll give another example of what I adore about this show that's so uniquely strange and picky and perfect. In conveying Araragi's message to Hanakawa over the phone, it's like muddled out. We can't hear it. Not only can we not hear it, but when it's typed up on the screen, there's like asterisks and missing letters because we already have all of the information. Mm-hmm. We're not stupid and we don't need to be re-shown flashbacks or the same context, like just to remind us. No, we know what's happening and we understand the conversation just by getting Hanakawa's perspective of it and responses.
We were already given the context, so we can fill in the blanks.
But like the asterisks and like missing letters and everything, they didn't need to do that, but it's amazing. It's fantastic. So good. So good. How do you sorry. Go on.
I was gonna say, how do you feel about the dating sim analogy with Senjigahara at the beginning of the episode?
It's interesting. I'm interested to see how it plays out in that relationship between Hanakawa and Senjigahara, because introducing it in that way would be us assuming that Hanakawa is interested in Araragi, but obviously that hasn't been shown to us yet.
Right. I wasn't even necessarily focused on if it would actually come to fruition or if that would be continuously something in the story that Araragi will continuously be amassing more oddity women in his life. I was more focused on what was the description of Senjigahara as if she were
a tsundere,
a character, as if she were the highest level of difficulty in the dating sim. As someone who plays visual novel dating sims, I found that kind of interaction and then what led into their study date incredibly entertaining. Was from it that true? Perspective.
Would you say that that's true?
Well,
I haven't played much, if any.
I think that her banter alone would make it very hard for her to be, at least by me, hard for me to read. If you're doing like a choices matter type game, knowing what to say to her, I feel like could be difficult to say the right thing to her at the right time, especially when she is a bit unhinged. Like when we're in the study date, she was a bit of a romantic red flag, which in dating sim games, that is sometimes the most fun character's path. In real life, I would stay really far away from you.
I would say I could fix her, but there's nothing to fix. It's perfect.
She's never broken up with a boy, and she doesn't intend to break up with him.
It's perfect.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
Oh my, that
I feel
that
like I would
100%
100% her out. Like every choice I would get right. I am very not confident in majority of things in my entire life. I am confident with my appreciation for Senjigahara.
I appreciate her. I just don't think that I'm dissing myself here in terms of my like high level, like whatever my level of IQ is, to be able to like keep up with someone that is so witty and so quick on their feet. And roasty. One might
confuse it or perceive it as witty and quick and high IQ. But there are different types of IQ, you know? There are different types. Like, where does the wit come from? Does it come from self-reflection and thinking ahead?
Or deprecation.
To, like, an obsessive level? Yeah. Interesting. Senjigahara paid Oshino back by working at her dad's company, working for her dad.
Yeah, great job there. I'm glad that we paid Oshino. We don't want to owe him money.
Yeah.
I want to see him again. I was kind of like, the end of the episode with like passing over the money to give to him, I kind of thought that would be our next segue to what was going to be happening next in the plot. Like, we're going to go see Oshino, and then he's going to point us in a direction and or give us a hint about something. I did obviously think that it was going to have to do with Kanbaru, but I did not expect Araragi to get jumped on it.
Yeah. I wonder if it's like Kanbaru is conscious for that version of herself.
Interesting. Or if it's literally just like at night she turns into this, and it kind of feeds on whatever her a negative underlying desire that she would, like an animalistic feeling that she might have.
If the injury is physical, it could have been resulted from that other character, that shift in personality, and she might not even remember it, you know?
It couldn't have so we're told that she idolizes Senjugahara. We don't need to read it into like crush territory, even though when Hachikuji brings up the idea of like, oh, does she have a crush on Araragi? We could take that line of dialogue and fuel an idea that maybe she actually has a crush on Senjugahara. That is fine and well, but I think that another theory or idea to bring up is the idea that this is a character where we were consistently calling them athletic and saying that they were like this Valhalla duo. You get this picture that they might have had this competitive relationship with each other, like a banter back and forth, and she might have felt like it wasn't as fun to play her sport, or like maybe she felt like she lost herself a little bit when this thing that defined her, like the Flame Sisters, this title and this friendship and this competitive love for sport and probably a best friendship kind of disappears, and that person pushes you away. She probably could have some sort of loss of self.
Maybe she like developed an alternate personality to replace Senjugahara.
Oh, so the her in the raincoat that beats Araragi up is like a different version of her? Yeah. That's her new best friend?
Like a different, like her previous perspective of Senjugahara, like taking a physical manifestation, but not being a good one-for-one. Interesting.
If it's not clear before the end of the episode, it's very clear by the end of the episode when the oddity disappears upon Senjugahara finding Araragi. It's obvious that like Araragi's in trouble here. Like the eyes are on you, but you are in a position where this oddity or Kanbaru has malice toward.
I do want to bring up the idea though, like Kanbaru did try to help Senjugahara, and after being rejected and turned away, stopped there as opposed to what Araragi did. And I do wonder if that has something to do with the emotions that Kanbaru has, you know?
There could be resentment, there could be
jealousy of not being able to do what they did.
Self-hatred, there could be what does he have that I don't, why? But I think there also could be, even if this was just a friendship and an idol situation, there could be this idea that like I need to test him to make sure that he really is good enough for
I like
her.
That.
Like, yeah, sure, he, like, okay, this is suspicious. Like, she let this guy help her when she pushed even me away. I need to suss him out. I need to learn who he is for myself.
You know what the issue is, though? Everything we've talked about, for the most part, comes from our idea of, like, human emotion. And it consistently within the show, it is very mythological or deity-based, and curses, and like it isn't necessarily intention, right? Like intention comes after the fact. Intention is not even after the fact, it's parallel with. I mean, think about Hachikuji and why she is what she is. She only had so much choice. She didn't get to choose to be killed and hit by a car. That wasn't bred from inner thought or desire or, you know, subconscious behavior. It was an action combined with her fleeting thoughts, which it makes the entire concept of what is gonna happen in front of us amazingly unpredictable.
Right. Like we have no clue what it is that she has been given in terms of a granting of a wish or an ability, what the reason was, what led her to receive it, if any of it is like the monkey's paw, like it might not initially be what you wanted, and there's going to be some karma factors or some things that you didn't quite intend to happen.
Interesting.
I'm glad to have gotten new OPs, though. I really like the idea that we will continue to meet new, like...
Phenomenal.
Okay, so when it says on the screen, Mon Story...
Yeah.
Do you read that as, like, Monster Story?
I don't, but given the context of the show and what we've learned, I could make that connection very easily.
Like, every time I see it, now I think of it that way, because all of these are, like, little isolated, but not really isolated, because there's an underlying plot and character moving
Question
through each
for
story.
you then. If that's your interpretation of it, we know that Bakemonogatari in itself is somehow a series, and that Bakemonogatari isn't the only thing we're going to be watching.
Mm-hmm.
Would whatever we watch after Bakemonogatari hold that same Monstory title in its title card?
Yeah. I feel like this character, if he continues to be within any of the other works in the series, he, from all that we've seen so far of him, has given me no evidence that he will shy away from the oddity world anytime soon.
I agree with
So
that.
I feel like he's gonna be consistently throughout his life and throughout this journey bumping into some fun situations.
Yeah.
Or not even bumping. He will forcibly insert himself into those fun situations because he wants to give people back something that he can't do for himself.
Here's the thing. I am not 100% convinced that we would see I don't know how many episodes are in the first season of Bakemonogatari, but how much of a pattern could you follow without it being... So let's say they follow the same pattern going forward. We get Kambaru being a somewhat reoccurring character too, with Hachikuji, with Hanekawa, with Sendagahara. Like, you don't just keep adding to that stack until there's 35 of them and you have to like give 35 of them. Like, you could do that, but I'm more making the argument or the point of trying to have all of them present within a single episode.
Oh, I don't think you would ever have them all present throughout a single episode. I think what it would do is that there is an underlying plot that I think has to do with Araragi himself and maybe what he's trying to keep from thinking about dealing with, going back to how meeting Senjugahara and starting a relationship with her has really kick-started his activity within the oddity world, even more so than it already was. And through that, he will continuously delve deeper and deeper and deeper. And while certain characters might not end up being like super plot important that are introduced, they could just be introduced as devices.
Yeah.
Like, the underlying plot is still moving even when these devices are working on top of it.
Interesting.
And they could give us clues. They could help characters get to know each other better and reinforce relationships, have little comedic banter. But obviously that's just me guessing that this would be a pattern.
It's a good point, though. One thing before it leaves my mind, I wanted to say that I absolutely loved was just the like, they don't forget what they've already done, in the sense that Senjugahara's like parents being visualized as the birds flying away from each other in red, and then using the birds in blue right here, and specifically talking about like moving in with each other with Araragi. It's so good. Yeah,
the bluebird imagery in terms of like, and we kept seeing it over top of like where she's currently living. The continuation of threads and reminders of, it's not like Senjugahara can drop the baggage, or even the journey of being weightless. It is something that is forever going to be a part of her, as her past and her mother are.
Yep.
And so to continue the imagery makes complete sense, because it's not like once she was able to relieve herself of the weightlessness that everything would she'd be a different character.
Yeah.
Like, no, getting that continuation of the imagery is beautiful, and I really appreciate it.
Phenomenal. All right, that's all I have.
I think that's all I have.
All right, thank you guys so much for watching this video. Please like, comment, and subscribe, and we hope to see you next time.